No repeats, because
No repeats today.
I don't particularly want to stop it. Okay. I'm probably going to have to stop you with your pieces. So just keep an eye out if I have to stop it.
What? You have to stop us?
I have to stop it.
Okay. Repeats or no?
Well, you'll see. No.
No repeats.
No
You may have
repeats.
to stop us in the middle.
She's supposed to tell me to go, but
Be ready for the piston fanfare at any minute. Is it time?
yep, it's time.
Piston fanfare. Lock down. Piston. Piston fanfare cadence.
be seated. Good morning. We're well aware of where we would all rather be right now, but at 7 o'clock this morning, the prediction was an 80% chance of a severe thunderstorm. We want you to have a long journey ahead of you, and we didn't want that cut short. The notion of thousands of people on metal chairs under the trees is simply not something that we're willing to risk. However, if at noon, when we're done with the ceremony and the lightning storm has passed, we will process out of Klein to Old West and come down the old stone steps. Welcome to a day of tradition and celebration. Dickinson pride runs high today as we gather together as a community of faculty, staff, honored guests, and families and friends to celebrate these 562 smiling and some relieved faces sitting in front of me. Class of 2015. Today is a rite of passage for each of you, but before proceeding, I'd like to acknowledge the people whose love, support, and guidance made it possible for you to be sitting here today. You did not get to this point in your lives today on your own. Would the parents, step-parents, and guardians of our graduates please stand so we can thank you? Let's add the grandparents, siblings, aunts and uncles, cousins, other random relatives, friends. Thank you for all you've done for our graduates. To the class of 2015, at the end of today's ceremony, you will cease to be Dickinson students and you will become alumni of the college. This significant transition is straightforward, yet profound. There's first a simple, formal statement from me indicating that upon recommendation of the faculty to the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you your degree. At that time, you'll be asked to switch the tassel on your mortarboard to the other side to indicate symbolically that you are now a graduate and not an undergraduate student. It may seem simple, but we all know that behind the statement and the gesture is a lot of work, and I know you will feel proud. After this, you will follow generations of Dickinsonians spanning 4 centuries. They include a President of the United States, Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, Associate Justices, federal and Commonwealth judges, scholars, teachers, business leaders, artists, lawyers, journalists, farmers, philanthropists, military officers, diplomats, and yes, even some scientists. Today, we will be honoring 4 distinguished honorary degree recipients. Ann Concert-Curley, a member of the class of 1963, a dedicated Dickinson volunteer and former journalist. William Wallace, a member of the class of 1974 and a renowned Michelangelo scholar. Jack Stafford, a member of the class of 1959 and a successful pharmaceutical executive and philanthropist, will receive a posthumous honorary degree, and Ian McEwan, award-winning author who will be delivering today's commencement address. It's with great pleasure I welcome our degree recipients. And yes, given our pride in being a green school, we're pleased to be joined today by our favorite Green Avenger, actor, and environmental advocate, Mark Ruffalo. While we are here today primarily to celebrate the accomplishments of the class of 2015, today I'm delighted to add a new tradition to our annual commencement ceremony, recognition of the members of our faculty who are retiring this year. I'd like to ask the following members of our faculty to stand at their seats, and we'll Acknowledge them at the end. Jeffrey Nimitz, Professor of Earth Sciences. Thomas L. Reed, Jr., Professor of English. Andy Skelton, Associate Professor of Psychology. And Candy C. Wilderman, Professor of Environmental Science, Walter Beach Distinguished Chair in Sustainability Studies. And although she cannot be here today, Sylvie Davidson, Professor of Romance Languages and Literatures and the John J. Curley and Ann Concert Curley Faculty Chair in Global Education. Together, these 5 faculty members have devoted a total of 187 years of teaching, scholarship, service, and most importantly, deep affection to this college, and we will be forever grateful to them for choosing to devote their professional careers to Dickinson. They've left their mark on this campus through their contributions in the classroom, through their mentoring of generations of students, and through their service to the college. Now, class of 2015. As you leave your undergraduate days behind, you are taking Dickinson and this community with you. This community that each of you has worked so hard to build and to advance over the past 4 years. In all that you do and all that you accomplish in your lives, Dickinson will remain as a foundation, as a stepping off point. And each of you has the ability and responsibility to continue to influence this community and its students as you move forward as alumni. Remember that. Congratulations on your accomplishments and best wishes. Now I'd like to invite Tara Vasil-Fisher, class of 2002, to come forward and announce the awarding of the Phi Beta Kappa recognition.
May I ask that this year's inductees to Phi Beta Kappa please stand. Since its founding in 1776, Phi Beta Kappa has been the most prestigious and selective of the intellectual honor societies in America. The Dickinson chapter of Phi Beta Kappa, the Alpha of Pennsylvania, celebrates its 128th anniversary this commencement. Each year, nationwide, only 1% of graduating students are inducted into the society. The students standing before you have demonstrated exceptional academic achievement and good moral character. They arrived at this point with intellectual discipline, a hunger to explore, and a passion for their major field of study. But our election of these students is not simply a recognition of past achievements. The society asks more of them, and we have seen more in them than what they have accomplished so far. Phi Beta Kappa is dedicated to the principles of freedom of inquiry and liberty of thought and expression. In future, we expect these young scholars to take intellectual risks, to find friends who will challenge them to do their best, and to honor their education by supporting the values of the liberal arts. Please join me in welcoming these new ambassadors for Dickinson's chapter of Phi Beta Kappa.
Now I'm pleased to invite to the podium Cassandra Colburn, the president of the class of 2015, who will announce the winner of this year's GNU Memorial Award.
It is my privilege as president of the class of 2015 to announce the 47th recipient of the Constance and Rose GNU Memorial Award. This award, established in 1969 in accordance with the testamentary wishes of the late William A. GNU of the class of 1902, is to be given to that professor of Dickinson College who, by secret ballot of the members of the senior class, immediately prior to their graduation, shall have been voted the most inspirational teacher during their college course. The faculty member being presented with the Ganoa Award receives a cash award and funds to be utilized for the purchase of books for the library, the acquisition of educational equipment, or the implementation of some other project which will enrich Dickinson's teaching learning program. It is with my great pleasure that I now present the award to a highly valued member of the music department. Her courses explore the relationship between music, trauma, memory, and politics, especially with regard to the music of European totalitarian regimes. In addition to teaching music history and service conducting the Dickinson College Choir, she also shares her knowledge through lectures with musical institutions such as the Los Angeles Opera, the Philadelphia Orchestra, and the Harrisburg Symphony Orchestra. Her receipt of the 2011 Dickinson Distinguished Teaching Award and the Harry Starr Fellowship at Harvard University evidences her legacy of excellence in the classroom and as a researcher. It is, therefore, with great appreciation and genuine respect that I present the 2015 Ganoa Award to Associate Professor of Music, Amy Wildarski.
That was fun. It's now my pleasure to announce the recipients of the 3 senior prizes listed within the commencement program. The graduates who are about to receive these awards have not been informed in advance. The first 2 awards, the James Fowler Rustling Prize and the John Patton Memorial Prize, are annually presented to members of the senior class whose academic records and accomplishments have been judged by the All-College Committee on Academic Program and Standards as the most superior. This year, the Rustling Prize, recognizing excellent scholarly achievement, goes to Kimberly Drexler, and the Patton Prize for high scholastic standing goes to Kirsten Dedrickson. Will they both come forward? Great. Good for you. You have to stand here for a minute. Kimberly came to Dickinson from Wantagh, New York. She double majored in art and art history and French. Kimberly accepted a graduate internship at the Guggenheim Museum in New York City and has plans to pursue a law degree with an emphasis on art law. Kirsten came to Dickinson from Pasadena, Maryland. She double majored in philosophy and computer science and minored in mathematics. This fall, Kirsten will be attending Stanford Law School. Congratulations to you both. The William F. Hufstadter Senior Prizes are annually awarded to the senior man and to the senior woman who, in the judgment of the president of the college, have made the greatest contribution to the good of the college during their undergraduate years. I have relied heavily upon the stated preferences of their classmates and the suggestions of faculty and administrators in selecting the recipients of these prizes. The 2015 winners of the Hufstadter Prizes are Kayla Muirhead and Frank Williams. Please come forward. Here she comes. How are you doing today? like, me? I know her, she's saying that. From Baltimore, Maryland, Kayla majored in biology and receives her certificate in health studies. She's accepted a position with the National Institute of Health as an intramural research training awardee. Frank is an Africana Studies and Law and Policy double major from Carson, California, and he plans to take a gap year before pursuing law school. Congratulations. I'm now pleased to welcome Jennifer Reynolds from the great class of 77, Chair of the Board of Trustees, to the podium, and she will announce the election of the Young Alumni Trustee.
Thank you, Nancy. 5 years ago, the Board of Trustees agreed to amend its bylaws to include a new and important category of trustee, that of our young alumni. Beginning with the class of 2011, a member of each graduating class has been elected to serve a 2-year term as a member of the Board of Trustees with full voice and vote. We all agree that this younger perspective has been incredibly valuable in our work as trustees. After a comprehensive application and interview process, the Board's Committee on Trustees put forward one name from the senior class, and that person was elected by the full board during its annual meeting earlier this month. This year, the on-campus committee received a record number of applications for the YAT position, and I had an opportunity to meet many of you at a reception in February. You are all very impressive, and you have now set the bar quite high for those who will follow you. Thank you for your commitment to Dickinson. The Committee on Trustees had the nearly impossible task of selecting from among 4 outstanding finalists. Any one of the seniors considered for this position would be an outstanding representative of our college and an exceptional trustee. To say this was a difficult decision is an understatement. Even though we could only choose one young alumni trustee, I hope that all of you will seek ways to serve as leaders, advocates, and volunteers for Dickinson, and lend your voice as engaged alumni of this incredible institution. Now, as Chair of the Board of Trustees, it is my great pleasure to announce that the Young Alumni Trustee from the class of 2015 is Kayla Muirhead. Kayla, would you please come forward? Trustees and President of Dickinson College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, by this document, certify that in accordance with the bylaws of the college, Kayla Jordan Muirhead, a member of the class of 2015, is hereby named the college's Young Alumni Trustee for the term July 1st, 2015 to June 30th, 2017, with all rights, privileges, and responsibilities of a trustee as set forth in the charter and bylaws of the college, and boy, are we going to keep you busy. Congratulations.
Congratulations to our newest Young Alumni Trustee. I would now like to ask Neil Leary, Director of Dickinson Center for Sustainability Education, John Adams, co-founder of the Natural Resource Defense Council, Sam Rose, class of 1958 and Emeritus Trustee, and Mark Ruffalo, whom we are honoring today as the recipient of the 2015 Sam Rose and Julie Walters Prize for Global Environmental Activism, to come forward.
Today, we award the 4th annual Sam Rose and Julie Walters Prize at Dickinson College for Global Environmental Activism. The $100,000 prize recognizes an individual who has made a defining difference by advancing responsible action on behalf of the planet, its resources, and people. Sam Rose, graduate of the class of 1958, and his wife, Julie Walters, established the prize in 2012 to honor John Adams, the co-founder of the Natural Resources Defense Council. They did so because of their deep personal regard for John and to focus attention on the need to reduce human impacts, the impact that humans are having on the planet. Sam and Julie chose to give the prize at Dickinson College to show their support for a curriculum at Dickinson that promotes student awareness of the environment and living sustainably in the world. We are honored to have John Adams with us here today. We are also pleased that Sam Rose and Julie Walters are here as well. Their generosity to Dickinson College extends well beyond their support for the award that we are giving here at this moment. This year's recipient of the prize is Mark Ruffalo. Mr. Ruffalo joins Bill McKibben, Lisa Jackson, and James Baylog as recipients of the prize. As a Rose Walters Prize winner, Mr. Ruffalo will spend a 3-day residency on our campus in the coming year. The Rose Walters residencies have provided rich opportunities for our students to exchange ideas with leading environmental advocates, and we look forward to Mr. Ruffalo's upcoming residency. Mr. Ruffalo has been the Avenger, sounds formal, doesn't it? Has been a strong voice and effective advocate for addressing climate change, advancing renewable energy, and championing access to clean water. He is a co-founder and board member of the Solutions Project. Launched in 2012, the Solutions Project is working at state and national levels to accelerate a transition to 100% clean, renewable energy for all people, for all purposes. The project is engaging the public, celebrating and convening leaders, and developing collaborative campaigns for making strides on the road to 100% renewable energy. The reasons for accelerating this transition are multiple. They include preventing dangerous climate change, improving local air quality, stopping the degradation of land and water that accompanies fossil energy extraction, improving public health, and providing good jobs that work in harmony with the natural environment. In addition to his work on clean energy and climate, Mr. Ruffalo's dedication to clean water access resonates strongly with the Dickinson community. He is founder of Water Defense, a nonprofit that informs people about what is in their water, holds water polluters accountable, and keeps waterways and drinking water sources free from contamination. Mr. Ruffalo and Water Defense do this because they believe access to clean water is a fundamental human right. Dickinson's own Alliance for Aquatic Resource Monitoring, ALARM, has been doing the same kind of work for nearly 30 years, engaging our students with community volunteers and organizations in monitoring and protecting waters and watersheds across the state of Pennsylvania. The congruity between the work of Water Defense and Dickinson's ALARM makes Mr. Ruffalo a particularly appropriate choice for the Rose Walters Prize. Mr. Ruffalo is an accomplished actor with numerous film credits and an Academy Award nomination. He's used his celebrity to great effect, speaking, writing, networking, organizing to raise the visibility and bring attention and resources to a variety of environmental and human rights issues. His work has earned him a number of awards prior to the one we bestow today. They include the Global Green Millennium Award for Environmental Leadership, the Mira Gandhi Giving Back Foundation Award, the Big Fish Award from Riverkeeper, and the Britannia Humanitarian Award from BAFTA Los Angeles. President Roseman, I present to you Mr. Ruffalo for award of the Sam Rose and Julie Walters Prize at Dickinson College for Global Environmental Activism. So we'll now hear a few words from Sam Rose, followed by our prize recipient, Mark Ruffalo.
Good morning, Dickinson, friends, faculty. It's a little warm this morning. I wore a turtleneck because I didn't want to be cold. Julie and I created this prize because we thought it was important to get the word out about climate change. We still don't seem to have a consensus in this country, and that's very scary to me. By hook or crook, we want to convince people that it's real, that the problem, the main problem we have is not ISIS, it's not Ebola, it's not immigration. Pick for president, it's climate change. And believe it or not, that's not where a consensus of our population is today, and that's shocking. We've already talked about who we've awarded this to, and Mark is a beacon for this prize. And we need beacons because we need somebody to help change the status quo. Thanks, Mark, for being that beacon. I do have one suggestion for him. I know his last movie was very successful. But if he wants to get his picture on a box of Wheaties, I think he needs to make a movie about climate change that changes the world's opinion. And I hope he does it.
Wow. I'm an actor. I didn't graduate from college, so I'm in awe of every one of you. So thank you. I'm really grateful and honored to be here today. Thank you, Sam and Julie. And thank you, President Roseman. I want to accept the Sam Rose and Julie Walters Prize on behalf of the leadership and staff of Water Defense. All that money is going to go to the nonprofit organization Water Defense, so thank you. I was going to talk a little bit about Water Defense, but I would rather talk about you. And you can look Water Defense up on the website. I'm here to tell you that activist is not a dirty word. And I'm here to tell your parents that as well. I didn't expect to be an activist. I sort of stumbled upon it because, in the words of Larry Kramer, one of the great AIDS activists and a mentor of mine, you have to fight for what you love. And you guys in particular are facing a lot of fights, I think. And I am happy to say that your generation is well armed to take them up. We have climate change. We have a mass sort of imbalance and corporatization. These lead to environmental degradation and also social justice issues. And we're sort of coming to a head. They're all coming to a head. And there's really no chance of ducking it or not having to deal with it. And I am thrilled to be here with you young people today who have so much knowledge and so much ability to communicate on such a grand level and a global level. And so I'm asking each of you at some point or another to act up. Be misbehaved. Buck the system. Fight for what you believe in. This is the time to do it. You're the ones to do it. your world, like no other generation, you actually get to create the world that you can imagine. And never in the history of mankind has it been so available to so many people to do that thing. And I am so excited to be here with you today. And I'm excited to see you go out and do the wonderful things that I know you've learned to do. And don't be afraid of anything. Thank you very much. It's a great honor.
We will now move to the conferring of the honorary degrees. I'd like to invite Professor Amy Farrell to come forward and introduce our first honored guest.
That's a hard act to follow, but I have someone very important who I would like you to meet right now, for those of you who haven't had the opportunity to meet her. Anne Conser Curley. In 1990, you wrote a fascinating article in the Dickinson magazine entitled A Quiet Woman of Substance. Focusing on the little-known life of Mary Dickinson, your article reminds us of the fortitude, the strength of character, and the ideals of the female half of the pair whose resources founded our college. Like Mary Dickinson, you too are a woman of substance whose dedication to the college and to the centrality of the liberal arts has profoundly sustained and enriched our institution, the lives of countless young people, and the world of ideas and creativity. As a Dickinson student, you dove into the life of the college. An English major, you honed your analytic and communication skills, earning both membership in the Wheel and Chain Senior Women's Honorary Society and the prestigious Phi Beta Kappa Award. As one of the Mermaid Players, you performed in, managed, and produced plays such as Crime and Punishment, A Thurber Carnival, and Arsenic and Old Lace. From your early days as a staff writer for the Dickinsonian, when you wrote about the inauguration of Rubendahl to his new post as president of Dickinson, to your later days as assistant news editor and managing editor, you demonstrated what would become a lifelong commitment to the importance of journalism and free speech. Indeed, as one person remarked when I described the connections I saw between you and Mary Dickinson, the adjective quiet does not quite fit, as you always express yourself passionately, eloquently, and knowledgeably about what you love. Dickinson has benefited greatly from those gifts of expression. For over 5 decades, you have dedicated yourself to the college, serving as president of the Alumni Council, as a member of the Board of Advisor, as admissions volunteer, and as co-chair of a capital campaign major donor committee. As one of the senior staff remarked, you are one of the kindest people that she has ever known, one who works to make a personal connection between the alumni and the college. For instance, as the heart and soul of the class of 1963, you reached out to every member of the class, urging them to attend their 45th reunion and to support the class gift. With your husband, John, one person described you both as a tremendous team. You have sustained and grown the college in countless ways, from endowed chairs for faculty and scholarships for students to support for Alarm, the Widener Spar Library, and athletics. In a note to me, you described your gratitude for this college. You wrote, "I am sure that when I received my diploma from Dickinson in our gym, now the Weiss Center, I could not have imagined how the support, enthusiasm, and scholarship of our professors would continue to inspire my interest in learning through the rest of my life, including, you noted, your master's degree in 2001 in English from Georgetown University. Nor could I have imagined the continuing importance of my college friendships in the years after graduation," you continued. "Having had a scholarship that made my Dickinson education possible, I am so glad that John and I can help give other students that educational experience and can support the good work of the professors and all who provide that experience." At this point, we would like to express our gratitude to you, Anne Conser Curley. Amidst a full life, raising 2 sons, working as a freelance writer and as a columnist for the Associated Press, active in your community in countless ways, you have continually carved out Dickinson as a crucial commitment. Today, surrounded by your family, your husband John, your 2 sons and daughters-in-law, your 5 granddaughters, your sister and her husband, your friends, the faculty, administrators, alums, and students who are so grateful for your presence, I hope you are justly proud of the work that you have done and continue to do for the college and for the world of thinking and creativity. President Roseman, for her demonstration of philanthropy and generosity, for serving as a model extraordinaire for myself, for the class of 2015, for our entire community of a life fully informed and enriched by the liberal arts, I am honored to present to you Ann Conser Curley, class of 1963, for the honorary degree of Doctor of Liberal Arts.
Ann Conser Curley, upon the recommendation of the faculty to the Board of Trustees and by its mandamus, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Liberal Arts, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and distinction thereunto appertaining, in token of which I present you with this diploma and cause you to be invested with the hood of Dickinson College appropriate to your degree.
Good morning. I'd like to invite the Jack Stafford's daughters to join me on the platform. Chairman of the Board, Chief Executive Officer, Board Member, lawyer, supporter, alumnus, athlete, friend, grandfather, brother, husband, father, Jack. All of these terms describe John Rogers Stafford, today's recipient of a Doctor of Philanthropy honorary degree. Jack's connection to Dickinson began when he arrived on campus as a member of the class of 1959. He made his mark here by participating in many sports, clubs, and organizations. But Jack would probably argue that his greatest accomplishment at Dickinson was meeting the woman who would become his wife of more than 50 years, Inga Paul, class of 1958. Although we are honoring Jack today, it is difficult to talk about him without mentioning Inga. They were that kind of team. After leaving Dickinson, Jack and Inga moved beyond the limestone walls together. Jack earned a law degree from the George Washington University Law School, where he served as editor-in-chief of the Law Review and was elected to the Order of the Coif. Jack joined the company now known as Wyeth in 1970 as general counsel. He remained with this company for over 30 years, ascending through leadership positions. He served as chairman of the board and chief executive officer of the company for 25 years. During Jack's tenure as CEO, Wyeth very nearly tripled its annual net revenue to $14.6 billion. By Jack's side, in step with his success, Inga earned a master's degree from Harvard University Graduate School of Education, and then a doctorate from Rutgers University Graduate School of Education. She put these degrees to good use during her career as an educator and practicing psychologist. In fact, on this stage in 2005, Dr. Inga Paul Stafford was awarded an honorary degree of Doctor of Psychology. Jack and Inga had personal successes to match their professional ones. They had 4 daughters, Carolyn, Jennifer, Christina, and Charlotte, who now have families and careers and achievements of their own. The geneticist in me pictures a big, smiling pedigree. We thank you for joining us today as we honor your father. I met Jack in 2001 when I joined Dickinson as a new faculty member in the biology department. I actually never knew him as the businessman. I knew him just as the relaxed retiree, the doting grandfather, the proud father, the attentive husband to Inga, the gracious host, the big smile, the one who always asked how I was doing, the supporter of Dickinson. Graduates, it is unlikely that you had the opportunity to meet Jack. I hope you did. But if you did not, you may still feel as if you know both Jack and Inga, because evidence of their generosity to Dickinson is dappled like sunlight across the campus. Perhaps you've studied in the Stafford Reading Room on the first floor of the library. Or maybe you've seen the Stafford Teaching Lab in Dana Hall. Perhaps you've attended a class or seminar in the Stafford Auditorium in the Rector Science Complex. Or completed a research project in the beautiful Dr. Inga P. Stafford Greenhouse for Teaching and Research. The day of that dedication was the last time I saw Jack, who passed away in April of last year, almost 2 years to the day after Inga. Students, a handful of you have been personally supported by the generosity of the Staffords as recipients of the Inga Paul Stafford and John R. Stafford Scholarship. If so, you've had access to funds to support a summer or two of research. Notably, they also established the Stafford Endowed Chair in Bioinformatics, which I'm so fortunate to hold. I feel as if Jack and Inga have been the godparents of my career at Dickinson. Carolyn, Jennifer, Christina, and Charlotte, I thank you for sharing your parents with me, with all of us. Others have also been the beneficiaries of Jack and Inga's generosity. They were active supporters of the Central Park Conservancy and the Metropolitan Opera, and their church, the First Presbyterian Church at Caldwell. Jack and Inga's gifts to Dickinson honored their careers in healthcare and related industries, and their belief that a liberal arts and sciences education is essential for a successful career and fulfilling life. Jack and Inga were the best examples of both successful careers and fulfilling lives. President Roseman, for his legacy of generosity to Dickinson, it is my heartfelt honor to present John R. Stafford in memoriam for the honorary degree of Doctor of Philanthropy. Thanks, Jack.
John R. Jack Stafford, upon the recommendation of the faculty to the Board of Trustees and by its mandamus, I confer the posthumous degree of Doctor of Philanthropy, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and distinction thereunto appertaining. In token of which I present your family with this diploma and cause you to be invested with the hood of Dickinson College appropriate to your degree.
The turbulent world within which Michelangelo Buonarroti lived and worked from 1475 to 1564 was in many ways not that dissimilar to our own. Wars, religious and political conflict, economic and environmental instability, killer bacteria and viruses, and new technologies defined the landscape of early modern Europe. For Michelangelo, hope resided in his faith through the institution of the church in Rome and in his art, sculpture, painting, architecture, and poetry, as vehicles for expressing the ineffable about humankind, its future, and his own personal salvation, which he also feared lay in doubt. It is largely through your years of research and writing about Michelangelo's life and art, William Wallace, that we have greater insight into an understanding of one of the most prolific, ingenious, and complex artists in history. Drawing on exhaustive knowledge of thousands of pages of archival documents and, of course, the works themselves, you have revealed relationships between artists, patrons, friends, and family that have corrected and problematized long-held assumptions about Michelangelo's creative process and how some of his most well-known works, like the Sistine Ceiling, the Medici Chapel, or St. Peter's Basilica, came to be. Michelangelo's art, however, did not spring forth fully formed like Athena from the head of Zeus. As you have shown us, he achieved what he did through incessantly hard work, often in collaboration with many others whom he held to his own exacting standards. And as you remark in your noted 2010 biography, Michelangelo, the artist, the man, and his times, only Shakespeare and Beethoven have inspired a comparable scholarly and popular literature. In 1974, you were a soon-to-be graduate of Dickinson College, as our students are today. Earning magna cum laude with a major in art history, you went on to a master's degree at the University of Illinois in 1976 and a PhD in art history at Columbia University in 1983, landing a job that same year in the Department of Art History and Archaeology at Washington University, St. Louis, a position you have held ever since. In addition to numerous teaching and faculty awards, fellowships, and grants, you now hold the Barbara Murphy Bryant Distinguished Professor of Art History Chair at WashU. It was during a 3-week trip to Italy in your sophomore year at Dickinson that you decided to pursue art history. Quote, "I became an art historian on my first trip to Italy, perhaps on that first night in Rome when I walked to St. Peter's in the rain and tried to grasp the enormity of this building and its equally important place in history." End quote. It is this synthesis between the visual and historical that first inspired you and that has informed your prodigious scholarship ever since. To date, you have published some 90 articles and essays, 7 books, 2 of which are award-winning, given numerous lectures worldwide, and served as a consultant to and made guest appearances for the BBC, ABC, the Canadian CBC, and the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. You were also brought to the Vatican in 1990 as part of a team of scholars, curators, and conservators to consult on the restoration of Michelangelo's frescoes in the Sistine Chapel. In short, you are an internationally recognized expert, perhaps the expert, on Michelangelo. Michelangelo was not known as a teacher in the way that many of his contemporaries, like Raffaello, were. You, on the other hand, embody the ideal of the dedicated pedagogue, with legions of students singing your praises that echo in the following: "Wallace is the man. I came in with no interest in art history and left loving it. If you have a chance to take a class with this man, do it. You won't regret it." In your teaching and scholarship, you have done the great service of revealing to us that genius also partakes in a common humanity, frailty, and uncertainty that defines life in general. Your work is an important example of cultural biography, what the late, great Erwin Panofsky called a cosmos of culture in his fundamental essay, The History of Art as a Humanistic Discipline. Panofsky outlined a subtle distinction between the Latin terms scientia and eruditio, as they would have been understood in Michelangelo's lifetime, as one broadly between the ideas of knowledge and learning in English, the former suggesting a kind of mental possession and the latter more of an intellectual process, something like mastery and wisdom. While undeniably masterful, your work is erudite in the most accessible of ways. It is an example of humanistic scholarship of the most persuasive kind, not only for the conviction and veracity of its interpretations, but also because it is invested with the voice of its author at every turn, a relative rarity in modern historical scholarship about the Italian Renaissance that lends credibility beyond the evidentiary. You have inspired countless students and scholars through your teaching, generosity, and friendship, and in that inspiration, you epitomize the ideal bonds of a well-motivated scholarly community. In the study of the past by scholars in Michelangelo's era, the emphasis was on relationship. The relation of one historical period or idea to another was a model for the relationship of self to self. There was always an expectation of reciprocity. President Roseman, for continuing to enlighten, edify, and excite us about the struggle for artistic excellence and the legacy of accomplishment, it is my honor to present William Wallace, class of 1974, for the honorary degree Doctor of Fine Arts.
William Wallace, upon the recommendation of the faculty to the Board of Trustees and by its mandamus, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Fine Arts, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and distinction thereunto appertaining, in token of which I present you with this diploma and cause you to be invested with the hood of Dickinson College appropriate to your degree.
Good morning, graduates. Ian McEwan, we honor you today for your devotion to the precision and clarity of the novel, novella, and short story forms. Your mastery of these forms allows us insight into various worlds, those of science, law, World War I, the macabre, the minds of women and men, to name a few. Born in Aldershot, England, moving from Singapore to Germany to Libya with your military family, you received a BA in English at the University of Sussex. You earned an MA in English Literature from our sister school, the University of East Anglia in Norwich. Your prize-winning propensity began with the Somerset Maugham Award in 1976 for your first short story collection, First Love. Your books have been on the short list of the Man Booker Prize 6 times. You won the prize for Amsterdam in 1998. Atonement earned the W.H. Smith Literary Award, the National Book Circle Critics Award, the Los Angeles Times Prize for Fiction, and the Santiago Prize for the European Novel. Your novel Saturday won the James Tate Black Memorial Prize, and On Chesil Beach was the Galaxy Book of the Year in 2008. In 2000, your country named you Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. With your 21 books and many screenplays, you have helped us to explore the boundaries between science and ethics. In the spirit of the liberal arts, you have mastered discourses as diverse as neuroscience and family law. In your desire to enter the minds of others, you pursue the heartening combination of research and imagination. That research often occurs in archives. An archive, you have said, takes you right to the heart of literary creation. It makes for an emotional connection that anyone who loves literature will understand. You champion what you have called an integrated education. Much that is exciting and challenging about the sciences can reinvigorate our understanding of human nature, which is integral to the study of the creative arts, you have said. Further, the fabulous scientists. Historically, you have noted, scientists from Leonardo da Vinci to E.O. Wilson have written exquisitely about the world we share. You believe that studying essay-based subjects, history and English, remains vital for scientists ordering and articulating ideas. Such a vision for an integrated education is at the very heart of what we desire for our Dickinson graduates. We admire your public stand on climate change in such forums as the Wall Street Journal. Sunlight falls on us in a constant stream, a sweet rain of photons beyond counting, you wrote. A single photon striking a semiconductor releases an electron, and so electricity is born. These are the photovoltaics that Einstein described and for which he won a Nobel Prize. As is often pointed out, less than an hour's worth of sunlight falling on the earth would satisfy the whole world's needs for a year. A fraction of our hot deserts could power our civilization. A stirring call to action for today's graduates. In this, the 10th anniversary of the Harold and Ethel L. Stelfox Visiting Writers, Scholars and Writers program, we remember especially your acceptance of the first residency in 2005. As you read the passage from your novel Saturday, describing a character's tragic death in a pedestrian car accident, no eye in the hall remained dry. Jean Stelfox, the Dickinson alumna who endowed the residency, had herself died in such an accident a few years prior to your reading. During this first visit to Dickinson, you embraced all that Jean Stelfox imagined visiting writers would embody: a contagious passion for seeing the world clearly and for expressing that vision with gravity, pith, and force. Madam President, for his achievements in the art of fiction, for his mastery of the manifold languages of our human condition, for his political responsibility, for his generosity, I am honored to present to you Mr. Ian McEwan for the honorary degree, Doctor of Letters.
Ian McEwan, upon the recommendation of the faculty to the Board of Trustees and by its mandamus, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and distinction thereunto appertaining, in token of which I present you with this diploma and cause you to be invested with the hood of Dickinson College, appropriate to your degree. It's now my honor to ask Mr. McEwan to deliver his remarks.
Thank you, Madam President, and all of you. Boy, do you know how to do a graduation day. We could learn a lot from you in more restrained England. Class of 2015, my most sincere congratulations to all of you. You made it through. You have a degree from a truly excellent institution. A lot of reading, a lot of writing, a lot of lying in bed. Thinking, of course. And now you stand on one of life's various summits. And as you know, there's only one way off a summit. But that's another story. Don't be taken in by those who tell you that life is short. It isn't. It's inordinately long. I was into my 20s when my mother astonished me by saying wistfully, "I'd give anything to be 45 again." 45 astounded me. It sounded like ancient life. And now I see what she meant. So most of you have at least more than 20 years before you peak. And barring all-out nuclear war or a catastrophic meteor collision, a substantial minority of you will get a toe in the door of the next century. A very wrinkled arthritic toe, but the very same toe you're wearing now. You have a lot of years in the bank, but don't worry, I'm not here to tell you how to spend them. Instead, I want to share a few thoughts with you about free speech, and speech here includes writing and reading, listening and thinking. Free speech is the lifeblood, the essential condition of the liberal education you've just received. And let's begin on a positive note. There is likely more free speech, free thought, free inquiry on earth now than at any previous moment in recorded history, even taking into account the golden age of the so-called pagan philosophers. And, plus which, you've come of age in a country where the enshrinement of free speech in the First Amendment is not an empty phrase, as it is in many constitutions around the world, but a living reality. But free speech was, it is, and always will be under attack From the political right, from the political left, the center. It will come from under your feet, from the extremes of religion as well as from unreligious ideologies. It's never convenient, especially for entrenched power, to have a lot of free speech flying around. The words associated with Voltaire, more likely his sentiments but not his actual phrasing, remains crucial and should be never forgotten. I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. It's only rarely appropriate to suppress the speech of those you disagree with. As my late friend Christopher Hitchens used to say, when you meet a flat earther or a creationist, it can be useful to be made to remember just why you think the earth is round, or whether you're capable of making the case for natural selection. For that reason, I think it's a poor principle adopted by quite a few civilized countries to imprison the deniers of the Holocaust or the Armenian massacres, however contemptible they might be. It's worth remembering this: freedom of expression sustains all the other freedoms we enjoy. Without free speech, democracy is a sham. Every freedom we possess or wish to possess, of habeas corpus and due process, of universal franchise and of assembly, union representation, sexual equality, sexual preference, the rights of children, of animals, the list goes on. Each of those rights has had to be freely thought and talked into existence. And no single individual can generate these rights alone. The process is cumulative. It was a historical context of relative freedom of speech that made possible the work of those who were determined to extend that liberty. John Milton, Tom Paine, Mary Wollstonecraft, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, John Stuart Mill, Oliver Wendell Holmes. The list, the roll call is long and honorable. And that is why an education in the liberal arts is so vital to the culture that you are about to join and contribute to. Take a long journey from these shores, and I'm sure you will, many of you will, and you will find the condition of free speech in the world to be in a desperate condition. Across almost the entire Middle East, free thought can bring punishment or death from governments or from street mobs or motivated individuals. The same is true in Bangladesh, Pakistan, across great swathes of Africa. And these past years, the public space for free thought in Russia has been shrinking. In China, state monitoring of free expression is on an industrial scale. To censor daily the internet alone, the Chinese government employs as many as 50,000 bureaucrats, a level of thought repression unprecedented in human history. So paradoxically, it's all the more important to be vigilant for free expression wherever it actually flourishes. And nowhere has it been more jealously guarded than under the First Amendment of the US Constitution. Which is why I've found it rather puzzling lately when we saw scores of American writers publicly dissociating themselves from a pen gala to honor the murdered journalists of the French satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo. American Pen exists to defend and promote free speech. What a disappointment that so many authors could not stand with courageous fellow writers and artists at a time of tragedy. The magazine has been scathing about racism. It's also scathing about organized religion and politics, and it might not be to your taste, but that's when you should remember your Voltaire. Charlie Hebdo's offices were firebombed back in 2011, and the journalists kept going. They received constant death threats, and they kept going. In January, 9 colleagues were murdered, gunned down in their office. The editorial staff kept going and within days had produced an edition whose cover forgave their attackers. Tout est pardonné, all is forgiven. All this when in the US and in the UK, one threatening phone call can be enough to stop a major publishing house in its tracks. The attack on Charlie Hebdo came from religious fanatics whose allegiances became clear when one of the accomplices made her way through France, through Turkey, to ISIS in Syria. And remember, this is a form of fanaticism whose victims across Africa and the Middle East are overwhelmingly Muslims. Muslim gays and feminists, Muslim reformists, bloggers, human rights activists, dissidents, apostates, novelists, and ordinary citizens, including children, murdered, or kidnapped from their schools. Now, there's a phenomenon in intellectual life that I call bipolar thinking. Let's not side with Charlie Hebdo because it might seem as if we're endorsing George Bush's war on terror. This is a suffocating form of intellectual tribalism and a poor way of thinking for yourself. As a German novelist wrote to me in anguish about the Penn affair, it's like the 70s all over again. Let's not support the Russian dissidents because it would get applause from the wrong side. That terrible phrase. But note, more optimistically, at the end of the Hebdo affair, the gala went on, the surviving journalists received a thunderous and prolonged standing ovation from American Penn. The scholar Timothy Garton-Ash, in a new book on free speech, reminds us that the US Supreme Court has described academic freedom as a special concern of the First Amendment. Very important, that. So it's been worrying too, the recent case of Ayaan Hirsi Ali, an ex-Muslim, highly critical of Islam, too critical for some. As a victim herself, she's campaigned against female genital mutilation. She's campaigned for the rights of Muslim women. In a recent book, she has argued that for Islam to live more at ease in the modern world, it needs to rethink its attitudes to homosexuality, to the interpretation of the Quran as the literal word of God, to blasphemy, and to punishing severely those who want to leave the religion. Contrary to what some have suggested, such arguments are neither racist nor driven by hatred. But she has received death threats, and crucially, on many American campuses, she is not welcomed, and notoriously, Brandeis University withdrew its offer of an honorary degree and the opportunity to deliver the commencement address. Islam, of course, is worthy of respect, as indeed is atheism. We want respect flowing in all directions, but religion and atheism and all thought systems, all claims to truth, especially the grand claims to truth, must be open to criticism, satire, even sometimes mockery. And surely we have not forgotten the lessons of the Salman Rushdie affair. Campus intolerance of inconvenient speakers is hardly new. Back in the 60s in my own university, a psychologist was blocked for promoting the idea of a hereditable component to intelligence. In the 70s, the great American biologist E.O. Wilson was drowned out of universities for suggesting a genetic element in human social behavior. As I remember, both men were called fascists. But the ideas of these men did not fit prevailing ideologies, and yet their views are unexceptional today. More broadly, the internet has, of course, provided extraordinary possibilities for free speech, and at the same time, it has taken us onto some difficult terrain. It has led to the slow decline of local newspapers and so removed a skeptical, knowledgeable voice from local politics. Privacy, also an essential element of free expression. The Snowden files have revealed an extraordinary and unnecessary level of email surveillance by government agencies. Another essential element of free expression is access to information. The internet has concentrated huge power over that access in the hands of private companies like Google, Facebook, and Twitter. And we need to be careful, vigilant, that such power is not abused. Large pharmaceutical companies have been known to withhold research information vital to the public interests. And on another scale, the death of a young black man in police custody could be framed as the ultimate sanction against free expression, as indeed is poverty and poor educational resources. All these issues need the input of men and women with a liberal arts education, and you, new graduates, are well placed to form your own conclusions. And you may reasonably conclude that free speech is not simple. It's never an absolute. We don't give space to proselytizing pedophiles, to racists, and remember, race is not identical to religion, or to those who wish to incite violence against others. Wendell Holmes' hypothetical shouting fire in a crowded theater is still relevant. But it can be a little too easy sometimes to dismiss arguments you don't like as hate speech, or to complain that this or that speaker makes you feel disrespected. Being offended is not to be confused with a state of grace. It's the occasional price we all pay for living in an open society. Being robust is no bad thing. Being robust is no bad thing. Either engage with arguments, not with banishments, and certainly not with guns, or, as an American Muslim teacher said recently at Friday prayers, ignore the entire matter. In making your mind up on these issues, I hope you'll remember your time at Dickinson and the novels you may have read here. It would prompt you, I hope, in the direction of mental freedom. The novel as a literary form was born out of the Enlightenment, out of curiosity about and respect for the individual. Its traditions impel it towards pluralism, openness, a sympathetic desire to inhabit the minds of others. There is no man, woman, or child on earth whose mind the novel cannot reconstruct. Totalitarian systems are right with regard to their own narrow interests when they lock up novelists. The novel is or can be the ultimate expression of free speech. So I hope you'll use your fine liberal education to preserve for future generations the beautiful and precious, but also awkward, sometimes inconvenient, and even offensive culture of freedom of expression we have. Take with you these celebrated words of George Washington. If the freedom of speech is taken away, then, dumb and silent, we may be led like sheep to the slaughter. We may be certain that Dickinson has not prepared you to be sheep. Good luck, 2015 graduates, in whatever you choose to do in life.
Thank you, Mr. McEwen. Provost Weissman.
And now we come to the moment. With more than 500 of you, it will be a long moment, but nonetheless, it is the important time. Students at Dickinson College who satisfy all requirements for graduation qualify for either a Bachelor of Arts degree or a Bachelor of Science degree. The degree each graduating senior will receive today is identified next to her or his name in the printed commencement program. Will all of the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree and the Bachelor of Science degree please rise and remain in your places? President Roseman, I hereby confirm that each of the degree candidates standing before you has completed all of the requirements for either the Bachelor of Arts degree or the Bachelor of Science degree.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty to the Board of Trustees and with the board's mandamus, I confer upon each of you the degree appropriate to the program of study you have completed in cursu, with all of the rights, privileges, and distinction thereunto appertaining, in token of which I shall present each of you your diploma and grant you the right to wear the hood appropriate to your degree. You may now move your tassels from right to left. Welcome, new alumni of Dickinson.
Please be seated. We We shall now commence with the awarding of the bachelor degrees. Graduates, please remain seated until the members of the faculty serving as assistant marshals indicate that you should come forward a few rows at a time to receive your hoods and your diplomas. As we are preparing to do that, I have two announcements to make. One of them is that it is our tradition to welcome our new alumni into the alumni body by having representatives of the existing alumni body present for that purpose. Today we have with us Mr. Alex Toole from the class of 2014, representing our most recent alumni, and Dr. Robert Paul, class of 1962, who represents the more senior alumni. Secondly, I have another announcement to make, and this one has to do with one of our honorary degree recipients today. We like to say that every Dickinson graduate is able to walk down the stone steps of Old West in order to receive their degree. But it turns out that 41 years ago, William Wallace did not do that. The reason being, as a senior, he was studying abroad in Bologna. He had received special permission to do that and therefore was unable to come down the steps. So I am announcing that we are inviting him when the class marches over to Old West to lead the parade so that 41 years after the fact, he will be able to make our record 100%.
Madam President, the seniors are ready to receive their degrees. Johnny Allison Abel. Megan Ann Abercrombie. James Dana Abrahamson. Angel Stephen Acosta. Stacy Jane Lee Adamczyk. Michael John Adams. Sina Afi Agaul. Nicole Catherine Kirsimagi Aguirre. Cole Edward Angel. Michael A. Amino. Larissa Lind Albright. J.C. Caesar Alden. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his grandfather, Thomas Lasik, class of 1948, and his sister, Ellen Alden, class of 2013. Bader Al-Hamedi. Pratik Alapur. Sydney Reed Altmeyer. Martin Alvarez. Anthony Gerard Amitrano. Kyle Owen Anderson. Sophie Michelle Anderson. Angeline Apostolo. Sarah Nia Archer Days. Ariani Arias. Lars Patrick Arneson. David MacArthur Ashbridge, Julie Ann Ashton, Christine Karen Aswood, Matthew Russell Atwood, Joellen Beth Auerbach, Jennifer Leigh Azaro. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her uncle, Stephen Katz, class of 1992. Samuel J. Azaro. Margaret Elizabeth Baldridge. Turner Clay Baldwin. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his sister, Kristen Baldwin Fay, class of 2006. Brittany Claudia Barker. Jeremy Thomas Barnes. Austin Fletcher Barrington. Esprit Simone Bosner. Sarah Elizabeth Bayliss. Charlie Franklin Bain. Alexandra Irene Harrison Becker. Mia Elizabeth Bedford. Kaylin Marianne Bednars. Matthias Maitland Bedolf. Madison Grace Beeler. Alexandra Catherine Bayer. Brett Ballets. William Ross Bender. Alexandra Elizabeth Burnett. Assisting in the awarding of degree is her sisters, Samantha Burnett Becker, class of 2006, and Margaret Burnett, class of 2009. Mark Julien Besson. William Donald Berline. Charisma Bishop. Emily Rose Blau. Brandon Michael Blouse. John William Bach. Daisy Ward Bodman. Prasad Shivani Bamana. Heather Lee Bonello. Cassandra Marie Bokiran Garcia. Michael Joseph Barkowski. Isaiah Brian Boswell. Allison Jane Boingington. Kaylin Elizabeth Leslie Bramhaney. Macaulay May Branch. Thomas Joseph Brangs. Caroline N. Brennan. Mary Elizabeth Briggs. Jordan Kathleen Bricato. Christopher Burnham Brogger. Christopher Joseph Brokus. Davis Kinsley Brown. Dominic Chermian Brown. Matthew Simon Brown. Mihal James Burgunder. Mary West McKeon Burke. Mackenzie Sinte Burkhart. Janelle Logan Burley. Danielle Rose Burley. Isabel Burlingame. Tessa Lark Burns. Charles Joseph Cable. Victoria Ann Cascione. Virginia Frances Cady. Valentina Calandra. Devin Joseph Caldwell. Melanie Jane Campbell. Andrea Eve Cantor. Sarah Fernald Cantor. Nicholas James Cardelia. Michael Stone Carmela. Drew Godspeed Cornell. Avery Dallas Carpenter. Elizabeth Delahunt Casson. Jessica Abigail Ceballos. Vanessa Sayers Cervantes. Rogelio Ramon Cerezo. Andrew William Chen. Han-Ye Chen. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is Woody Goldberg, class of 1963 and a member of the Dickinson College Board of Trustees. Sitong Chen. Shai Chen. Yoon Seok Choi. Rahim Ahmed Chaudhry. Alan Charles Church Jr. Paige Madison Clark. Eli Francis Cohen Lawler. Cassandra Jane Colburn. Assisting in the awarding of the degree are her grandparents, John Colburn Sr. and Patricia Hoffman Colburn, both class of 1952. Her uncle, John Colburn Jr., class of 1974. Her aunt, Terry Littleton Colburn, class of 1975. And her mother, Catherine Colburn, class of 1977. Danielle Marie Collette. Stephen Michael Collins. Patrick Norman Connor. Aaron Alexander Cook. Monica Gabrielle Corin. Quinn Emerling Cotter. Christopher Brandon Cox. Alexander Charles Crawford. Jordan B. Crystal. Kyle Patrick Danielson. Lucia Marie Darrow. Ilya Minkov Daskalov. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his sister, Anastasia Daskalov, class of 2009. Iman Dusty. Austin James Davis. Willa Catherine Davis. Nikolaos Palas Davos. Alice Mary Dawson. Kirsten Rose Dedrickson. Shuyun Deng. Nuriahan Razak Deolal. Peter DeSantis. Elizabeth Niffin Detour. Nathan Eugene Detweiler. Daniel Alessandra Dugo. Emma Catherine Devine. Michael Joseph DeVivo. Amy Michelle Diamond. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her mother, Jeanette Diamond, class of 2014, and a member of a Dickinson College staff, and her brother, Sean Diamond, class of 2008. Riley Bond Dixon. Andrew Allen Dietz. Liana Alexandria Diggs. Molly Elizabeth DeLeonardi. Catherine Thayer Dilworth. Sarah Halwig DiMuccio. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her mother, Marie Helwig Larson, a member of the Dickinson College faculty. Catherine Marie Dina. Eric Frank DiNardo. Krista Denise Dion. Austin Benjamin Dodson. Assisting in the awarding of the degree are his brothers, Christopher Dodson, class of 2010, and Evan Dodson, class of 2013. Michaela Rion Donahoe. Alexa Staris Dorsey. Tyler Martin Durble. Kimberly Tyler Drexler. Emily Louise Drummond. Michael Christian Donlevy. Raymond Andrew Durkin Jr. Emery Bigelow Durnan. Madison Victoria Eggers. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her sister, Mary Ann Eggers, class of 2013. Sarah Allison Eisen. Caroline Erin Elkin. Ryan Cody Emery. Christina Marie Erico. Anna Robert Ersenkal. Larry Brooke Esposito. Melissa Ann Fallett. Colin Michael Farrell. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his brother, Justin Farrell, class of 2013. Bryce Wilkins Feibel. John Joseph Fekete. Rebecca Gwen Feldman. Jane Meredith Feldman. Jillian Alyssa Furco. Alexander Fernandez. Mariel Carmen Fernandez. Julie Robin Fields. Alexandra Wise Fingerhut. Stephen Harper Finley. Edward Louis Finacaro. Grace Elizabeth Fisher. Ashton Elizabeth Fiucci. Johanna Marie Fleming. Abby Nicole Flinchbaugh. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her mother, Kimberly Flinchbaugh, a member of the Dickinson College staff. Emily Kathleen Flint. Elizabeth Cahill Flood. Amy Marie Fly. Anne Ruth Fogler. Nicholas Christoph Formas. Jordan Allen Forey. Emma Catherine Fryer. Brian Mead Frankenfield. Lisa Ann Freeman. Alexis Kimberly Friedlander. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her mother, Tracy Klein Friedlander, class of 1988. Kim Tao Fu. Dane Robert Gabrielson. Devin McDonald Gaby. Charles Austin Gaines. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his father, Stephen Austin Gaines, class of 1986. Christina Barbara Gannon. Rebecca Danielle Garlinger. Caitlin Elizabeth Gary. Elizabeth Ann Gass. Jason Allen Gates. Paul J. Gaver. Connor Thomas Gaver. Heather Lynn Geist. James Solomon George. Lev Joslav Gerstel. Mansour Ahmed Goto. Samuel Walker Gillespie. Joanne Gilligan. Alexander Rowe Gitlin. Walter Bratton Given. Abigail Elizabeth Glascott. Peter Lammett Glatz. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his father, Charles Glatz Jr., class of 1975. Hannah Shanice Glick. Brandon Neville Goldson. Wendy Lorena Gomez. Sarah Jillian Goslin. Emma Jane Green. Richard Anthony Green, Jr. Christian Mark Gregoire. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his father, Mark Gregoire, class of 1983, and his brother, Evan Gregoire, class of 2011. Trevor Monroe Grisman. Xingguan. Grant Alexander Geyer. Amanda Michelle Gavazdan. Elizabeth Ann Haggard. Kelly Anderson Hagland. Stephanie Marie Hammond. Christine Spalding Harkness. Laura Ann Hart. Stephen Kyle Haynes. Elliot Wood Hecht. Dominique Mercedes Hedrick. Mitchell James Hellman Dollar. Dwight David Henderson, Jr. Catherine Marie Hanwood. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her mother and father, Lynn Bush Hanwood and Christopher Hanwood, both class of 1988. Fabian Alberto Fernandez Lorenzana. Jenna Page Hess. Anna Powers Hayward. Miller Higgins. Justin Edward Hill. Celeste Kiana Hippolyte. Aaron Stewart Hawk. Maeve Loretta Hoggle. Ashley Marie Homan. Courtney Elizabeth Holden. Christopher Aaron Holmes. Holly Alyssa Holtz. Lauren Makanaloha Holtz. Keenan Wade Howard. Peter Graham Howard. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his father, Lindsay Howard, class of 1982. William Alexander Hoyt. Michael Charles Hughes. Sarah Kelly Iacovino. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her mother, Lindsay Goodman Iacovino, class of 1975, and her sister, Shanna Iacovino, class of 2009. Saya Ashley Imura. Christopher Sean Ivamy. Lawrence Xavier Halon. Jonathan Titus Jones. Kinsey Grace Jones. Molly Kathleen Joyce. Shelby Lexus Calamar. Luke C. Caledon. Adam Lee Kaminsky. Caroline Elizabeth Kapustinski. Joshua Charles Kasef. Rachel Elena Cass. Alexander John Kasnell. Lindsay Grace Carney. Kelly Elizabeth Kanan. Rava Joyce Keith. Holly Claire Kelly. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her mother, Julie Mallow Kelly, class of 1980, and her father, Patrick Kelly III, class of 1981. Her sister, Caroline Alasson, class of 2008, and her brother-in-law, Michael Alason III, class of 2008. Quinn Fortin Kelly. Gwendolyn Clara Kennedy. Han Keol Kim. Yu Lim Kim. Benjamin Joseph Kimok. Mackenzie Sky King. Ashley Nicole Kinney. Gregory Joseph Kirkner. Hannah Svensson Kisley. Benjamin F. Colts. Paige Highland Kopp. Carson Elizabeth Causer. Molly Carson Kramer. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her mother, Pamela Carson Kramer, class of 1982, and her father, Andrew Kramer, class of 1983. Kathleen Jane Lang. Nathaniel Todd Latshaw. Emily Patrice Lawrence. Gregory Emmanuel Lawrence. Tuhuang Ming Lee. Connor Benjamin Lee. Jamie Lucille Lidwinger. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her father, Kevin Lidwinger, class of 1985. Anna Harrington Leistico. Charles Bertrand Leitner. Renata Olivia Leo. Lucas Tyler Leslie. Rachel Rose Levine. Elizabeth Irene Lewis. Chiongling Lee. Shuwei Lee. Jessica Rose Leibowitz. Vincent A. Licata. Spencer Benjamin Lieber. Cassandra Adele Lyer. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her mother, Deborah Stockman Lyer, class of 1988. Christina Marie Link. Haley Berg Litchfield. Yi Quinn Liu. Julia K. Loader. Samantha Getz Lodge. Dana Rachel Lapatin. Emily Furo Lopkin. Jessica Nicole Lowenstein. Elizabeth Rhodes Lucas. Mary Alexis Lucas. Andrew David Ludwig. Jeremy Adam Lupovitz. Catherine Mary Lyons. Austin James McDougall. Robert William McKenna. Sabiha Patwa Madraswala. William Thomas Mallard. Eller Alexandria Malchok. Erin Elizabeth Malloy. Carmen Mercedes Mann. Robert Francis Marsden. Holly Ruth Marks. Mackenzie Mills Maston. Catherine Jermaine McGall. Jessica Lee May. Susanna Tallman May. George Alexander Mazarakis. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is Craig Wicks, class of 1977, and a member of the Dickinson College Board of Trustees. Justin Francis McCarty IV. Kara Noel McDonough. Sarah Agan McAvoy. Amber Rose McGarvey. Lucy Ann McInerney. Julia Brambo McMahon. Tana James McMahon. Amelia Eleanor McManus. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her mother, Susan Alberts, class of 1977. Megan Lorraine McDallen. Jessica Marie McGalley. Alyssa Lee Meister. Alexandra Joanne Melchiore. Francisco Mena. Jasmine Ada Manigan. Catherine Calvert Merbler. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her mother, Cynthia Conklin, class of 1975. Courtney Elizabeth Meyer. Rachel Lee Stamler Meyer. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her cousin, Christopher Beamer, class of 1964. Timothy Reed Milbrath. Christopher Davidson Miles. Chloe Monet Miller. Miriam Claire Miller. Kate Holland Montgomery. Shireen Bree Montgomery. Danette Araminda Moore. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her uncle, Nolan Kurtz, class of 1992. Harley Hughes Moore. Catherine Shante Morales. Grace Margaret McCabe Morelli. William George Delafield Morisaw. Thomas Peter Morris. Heather Iona Morrison. Crystal Nicole Mortar. Samantha Ray Moyer. Mo Deng Mo. Kaylor Jordan Muirhead. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is Jennifer Ward Daynold, class of 1977, and chair of the Dickinson College Board of Trustees. Molly Kathleen Mullane. Megan Catherine Murphy. Palmer David Murray. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his mother and father, Jennifer Llewellyn Murray and Jonathan Palmer Murray, both class of 1984. Benjamin John Myers. Henry Crockett Minette. Benjamin Edwin Nathanson. Mary Catherine Naden. Eric David Neumeister. Qiantin Yuan. William Wynn. Cody Michael Nichols. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his sister, Amber Nichols, class of 2010. Mark Hunter Nicosia. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his father, James Nicosia, and his mother, Diane Pedroni Nicosia, both class of 1987. Magdalena Clara Niedermeyer. Kelly Elizabeth Nissen. Andrew T. Nisman. Christopher Robert Noonan. Thomas W. Nolan. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his uncle, Daniel Peterson, class of 2007. His aunt, Mariel Peterman Peterson, class of 2007. And his brother, Robert Nolan, class of 2013. Mariah Elizabeth Murphy. Carly Forbes O'Brien. Caitlin Mahil O'Mahony. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her brother, Sean O'Mahony, class of 2007. Eric Michael Ondo. Megan Baker O'Neill. Timothy James O'Reilly. Stephanie Marie Orsini. Erin Morgan Owens. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her fiancé, Christopher Gregory, class of 2013. Aisha Neil Özder. Molly-Ann Divine Pace. Nicholas Sullivan Paparella. Sujin Park. Brett Whiteley Parker. Ryan Shaw Parker. Evan Scott Pastoral. Brody Philip Paul. Kirsten Borrell Paul. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her grandfather, Robert Paul, and her grandmother, Catherine Everhart Paul, both class of 1962. Kristen Taylor Beck. Melissa Eileen Pisantes. Nikiforos Panagiotis Peterson. Allison Marie Peterson. Cameron James Phillips. Sarah Rose Phillips. Celeste Michelle Burnside Pilato. Jillian Elizabeth Pinkham. Natalie Joanne Polk. Haley Alexis Poole. Jessica Lean Poteet. Nicole Elizabeth Price. Catherine Ruth Purrington. Carly Braxton Putman. Alexandra Nicole Quill. Megan Patrice Quirin. Alexandra Gabrielle Ronska. Tyler Louis Ralston. Gabriela Herminia Ramos. Daniel Ashley Rang. Ethan Samuel Rayner. Sasha Parmat Regan. Justin Michael Reamer. Elizabeth Ann Reese. Brian Allen Reiger. Jiwan Ren. Amanda Donahue Rennie. Alexandra Blair Richards. Oren Leonard Richkin. Julia Elizabeth Ring. Julia Marie Robertson. Elizabeth Gray Robinson. George Cotman Robinson IV. Yamilka Elena Rowe. Sarah DiPichotto Rose. Kevin Rosenberg. Nancy Alexandra Rosie. Robert Wayne Rubenstein. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his father, Martin Rubenstein, class of 1978. Catherine Ann Roy. Athethia Roro. Margaret Allen Rule. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her father, Forster Rule Jr., class of 1981. Jennifer Christina Rush. Katie Lynn Rosnack. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her mother, Linda Conrad Rosnack, class of 1985. Max Harris Russo. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his father, Lawrence Russo, class of 1983. Sarah Michelle Rutkowski. Sean Patrick Ryan. Soleil Nicole Sanchez. Emma Bennett Sander. Matthew Vincent Shagrin. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his father, Stuart Shagrin, class of 1984. Moira Williams Schaufler. Patrick David Schlee. Isabel Karina Schlick. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her brother, Frederick Schlick IV, class of 2014. Juliana D. Schneider. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her mother, Judith Burnett Schneider, class of 1983. Elizabeth Corey Gilroy Schrader. Elizabeth Marie Schultz. Olivia Erica Schumann. Matthew George Schwartzman. Alexandria Marie Seavey. Orly Aliana Siegel. Bradley Ross Seltzer. Carol Marie Sennett. Michael Joseph Serper. Brooke Elizabeth Sierra. Jiyun Shao. Sasha Jenny Shapira. Jackson John Shaw. James Patrick Shea. Jennifer Elizabeth Sherry. Thomas Nicholas Shu. Jennifer Kim Shields. James Schumann. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his grandfather, Richard Schumann, and his grandmother, Judith Pinkerton Schumann, both class of 1957. Vivian Francesca Sicilia. Stacy Allison Siegel. Caitlin McGuire Simpson. Melissa Ann Siskin. Jesse Samuel Scaff. Joan Marie Smedinghoff. Hadley Bride Smith. Hunter James Smith. Micah C. Smith. Randolph Michael Smith. Sarah Francis Smith. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her father, Christopher Smith, class of 1983. Nora Elizabeth Snee. Emily Margaret Snell. Jessica Ann Snyder. Jessica Lauren Sneidman. Joseph Samuel Sachi. Caitlin Marie Soriano. Robert Allen Spriggs, Jr. Megan Ann Steckler. Nicholas Walter Stender. Graham Martyr Stevenson. Marguerite Stevenson. Bridget Catherine Stockmall. Jaron Tyler Stoner. Mooneen Lisbeth Streitz. Asa Y. Suda. Suleiman Y. Suda. Siobhan Elise Elizabeth Summers. Isaac Haim Surujon. Caitlin M. Swade. Jessica Lee Swain. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her sister, Emily Swain, class of 2010. Catherine Walker Swantock. David Alexander Tabo. Ori Tamuz. James Michael Taub. Michael Elizabeth Tawney. Charlotte Chalma Taylor. Assisting in the awarding of the degree are her sisters, Kelsey Taylor, class of 2010, Caitlin Taylor, class of 2012, and Caroline Taylor, class of 2014. Megan Elizabeth Taylor. Patri Elizabeth Thiel. Connor James Thompson. Rachel Catherine Thompson. Mary Caroline Thorne. Nina Gabriela Tirado. Jason Mackenzie Trummer. Catherine Rose Turvey. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her brother, John Turvey, class of 2014. Nathaniel Michael Ulm. Elena Faye Unger. John Lawrence Baggy. Carla Alexis Vasquez Ramos. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her sister, Edme Carolina Vasquez Ramos, class of 2012. Philip Alvary Velez. Andrew Yakubovich Veselka. Matthew Richard von Endy. Catherine Ann Voss. Samson Matthew Wax. Brian Glenn Wecker. Hannah Nicole Bogner. Victoria Lynn Waldron. Caitlin McGovern Walsh. Nicole Wasson. Brooke Catherine Watson. Ramona Sarah Weber. Noam Asa Wagner. Mark Robert Weinhofer. Haley Elizabeth Wise. Catherine Lee Welch. Whitney Ann Wells. Connor Dixon White. Tyler Joseph White. Andrew Weimer. Margaret Diana Wiggins. Olivia Harper Wilkins. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her mother, Teresa Wilkins, a member of the Dickinson College staff. Frank Henry Williams III. Allison Yael Whitner. Gerald Joseph Wickstead. Tracy Elizabeth Wolf. Catherine Nightingale Woodhouse. Henry Lynn Worthington. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his brother, Arthur Worthington, class of 2013. Xiang Yao. Peter Angelo Yingst. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is his father, James Yingst, and his mother, Carolyn Angelo, both class of 1976. Elaine Carol Yak. Kevin Choi Yu. Alexandra Elizabeth Young. Will Yorchik. Brianna Francis Zagami. Assisting in the awarding of the degree is her sister, Allegra Zagami, class of 2012. Carly Ava Zarzika. Sebastian Zhang. Rongwei Zhou. Tabea Clausen Zimmerman.
I now invite senior members of the college choir to come forward and lead us in the singing of the alma mater.
We've been smushed the whole time. Got it. Smile, smile, smile. Yeah. Smile, guys. Who's coming? Good? Oh, there's my mom. Just give him a thumbs up.
Congratulations. It's off. How do I turn it on? Pardon me? Where's, yeah. How do I turn it on? Good afternoon and congratulations, graduates. Yeah. As we conclude, we ask that the audience remain as they are, because we're going to recess the graduates in through a counter march with the faculty along this aisle. I will then lead the graduates down High Street to Old West, where you will come down the steps. I ask the audience members, if you're following for pictures, we ask that family and friends move through the center of campus along the Dickinson Walk. So, thank you very much, and again, congratulations.